It's clear that the Trinidad and Tobago Police, as has been the practice for decades in this region, would have supplied an arrest warrant which the Barbados Police would have acted upon. We understood at the time, and we said, our Attorney General said at the time, that the formal process of extradition, which we do extra-regionally with other countries, has not and was not practiced in the region among ourselves by any country in the region. And therefore, to that extent, we acknowledge that we need to be able to change how we operate. That is why the CARICOM arrest warrant is being pursued. That is why legislation has to be passed in every CARICOM country to be able to facilitate that CARICOM arrest warrant. But to describe it as kidnapping or to suggest that any member of cabinet or any member of the permanent secretary class or government of Barbados is involved in kidnapping is a scurrilous lie and defamatory in the extreme.
And let me be very clear, sir. When we go to the election, as we just did, and we go to the electorate, to the voters, invariably we introduce ourselves by name and the candidate for a political party if we are so, and if you are an independent, you say that. In my certain experience over the course of the last 35, 36 years, people go and say, I am Mia Mottley, I am the candidate for the Barbados Labour Party in this constituency. I am so-and-so, I am the candidate for the Democratic Labour Party, I am the candidate for whatever party in this constituency. But it goes further, sir. We are also nominated in a formal process by that political party. We are ratified by the councils of that political party to be the candidate. We then subscribe to a manifesto and to a program of activities that make it absolutely clear that we are committed to that platform of that political party. And then we invariably have posters and in recent times billboards associating us with that political party. And then, on top of that, in our case, in the Barbados Labour Party, we ask persons to sign to the program that is constituted in the manifesto because we believe that manifesto to be a social contract, or as we have stated in this last manifesto, even higher, a covenant with the people whom we are asking to vote for us. We come to you, we stand for a particular set of values. We stand for a particular philosophy. We stand for a particular set of programs. And while there was a time in the last few decades where the division with respect to how you stand on programs and philosophy may have become blurred, it is absolutely clear that we are living in a world today where there is deep philosophical divisions intruding again into the body politic, not just of Barbados, but of the entire globe. And therefore, the platform on which you stand is going to take play an even greater role in the choice that voters have to make as to whether they want to go this way or this way. And I'd like to address one issue, my friends, before I go. The issue of the potential disenfranchisement of any of our citizens. If one person is disenfranchised, that is one person too many. On the Electoral and Boundaries Commission and Register, every eligible Bajan must be able to vote. And we've been caught between a vortex between what the law says and what the practice over the last 30 years developed in this country. We will resolve it. Where mistakes were made, they will be corrected. Where systems must be improved for an archaic electoral system, they will be improved transparently, without conspiracy, and without tearing down the integrity of our democracy. Once we receive formally the two reports from the two observer missions which we invited here, the two independent observer missions, we will appoint an advisory committee on electoral reform. We expect also to receive an independent report from the Electoral and Boundaries Commission as to what were their challenges in the conduct of the election. We are clear that the CARICOM report has already said that there were free and fair elections in Barbados, and clearly the will of the people has been represented. But they have equally said there are some things that we need to fix, and fix them we shall. At its core, sir, it basically says that if the political alignment under which you were elected changes fundamentally, the democratic response is to return that question to the electorate. Go back to the voter. This morning, we have before us a very simple bill, but one that is fundamental for the stability of our democracy. The amendment which is before us is about mandate integrity. It applies only to a member of parliament who was elected as a candidate of a political party and who then later either resigns from that party, is expelled by that party, or formally crosses the floor to another political alignment. It is fundamentally about protecting the voter's choice. It does not deal with how a member votes. It does not deal with the fact that members may sometimes dissent from their political parties. It does not silence criticism of either the party or the cabinet in any manner or form. It addresses only, sir, a formal change in political allegiance after an election. The process, Mr. Speaker, is structured and clear. It strengthens democratic accountability in our system. It supports stability and predictability in governance. And it encourages transparency in political affiliation, while at the end of the day, providing a constitutional process rather than an ad hoc process for the resolution of political conflict. And as I said, the process is clear. The notice to the Speaker comes from the leader of parliamentary business in the House of Assembly, whether that is leader of government business or, where applicable, leader of opposition business, and where has happened in the past before with multiple oppositions, leader of opposition business of either party is spoken to in this amendment. In practical terms, this means that whether it is the leader of the government business or the leader of opposition business, they are the ones who will provide the notice to which this section and amendment refers. This notice does not remove anyone. That is a constitutional process that is initiated by this notice simply. The Speaker will then make a declaration at the next sitting of the House. If the declaration is resignation or expulsion, there is a defined period of 14 days to challenge that allegation in a court of law before any vacancy takes place. So there are checks and balances embedded in the amendment. It is also, sir, important to be honest about standards. Expulsion from a political party is not a casual event. Indeed, it is exceedingly rare in my time in this chamber. In the case of the Barbados Labour Party, expulsion carries a very, very high threshold. And there are 4 grounds that I'll come to later that constitute the basis for that expulsion. I want to say clearly, sir, this is not a tool of convenience. It is a serious constitutional mechanism tied to a serious change in political status. And it is prevalent in the world in over 40 countries across the entire world, many of whom are Commonwealth countries, so that we are not breaking new ground in the Parliament of Barbados by the passage of this legislation.
Morning. In the news today, there is tension in the region. Mia Mottley responds to Kamala's speech. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has strongly pushed back against comments made by Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar during the recent CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Mottley rejected claims that a Trinidadian businessman was kidnapped from Barbados, calling the statement defamatory in the extreme and a spurious lie. Wow. Despite the public disagreement, both leaders were later seen together at the summit, with Mottley indicating that any issues between the two countries would be handled privately, without cameras and microphones. CARICOM diplomacy in action? What are your thoughts? Should regional disputes be addressed publicly or behind closed doors? Looking forward to seeing your comments. Stay tuned.
Yeah, listen to this interview. Actually, congratulations on re-election. She blew.
This
It
is
was like 30 to
once
zip.
again a woman
This is the PM?
I think we need
Beijing?
Beijing, yeah.
Okay.
Beijing, yeah.
Barbados, yeah.
She don't play. She don't play.
She
And
don't play.
I tip my crown off to her because she's holding her country. Let me say it loud in this camera here. Trinidad people. She is holding down her country as she should.
Going down. I'll give you
Okay.
for that.
She is representing for her people as she should. Because some other countries, not naming nobody, out of fucking order. Just
Go back to that episode.
out of fucking order.
Go back to that
Not
episode.
representing for their people. We need to find leaders that is representing for the people. We're the ones that are holding up the land. And if you'd kill us out, what's gonna happen?
Today, we're talking about Mia Mottley. It's Black History Month, and every Saturday in February, I'm telling you about an Afro-Caribbean who has impacted history. If you want to talk about badass women, Mia Mottley has to be at the top of the list.
Why is it that every time we talk about countries from the South, first allegation is corruption? Last time I checked, in the USA and the UK and Europe, they're riddled with corruption, but nobody says that they're not capable of achieving their objectives because of corruption.
She is the very first woman to ever become the Prime Minister of Barbados and one of the most influential Caribbean politicians of our time. Mia Mottley was born in 1965 in Barbados and entered politics at just 28 years old. In 2018, she made history when she became the very first female Prime Minister of Barbados, leading a landslide election victory that won every single seat in Parliament.
We are one people. We are Barbadians.
But her leadership didn't stop there. In 2021, under Mia Mottley's leadership, Barbados officially removed the British monarch as head of state, making Barbados a republic. On a global stage, Mia Mottley has become a fearless voice for Caribbeans, especially when it comes to climate justice. She has challenged world leaders at the United Nations, calling out how small islands are paying the price for climate change they did not cause.
Not climate change, it's a climate crisis.
And all of us need to act today in order to save the planet tomorrow.
Mia Mottley represents modern Black leadership, bold, articulate, unapologetic, and rooted in her Caribbean identity.
Constitutional monarchy to a republic in 2021, formally removing the British monarch as head of state. On the global stage, she has been a leading voice on climate justice, debt reform, and economic equity for small island nations. Her advocacy at international forums has reshaped conversations about how climate vulnerability and global finance intersect. She positioned Barbados as a moral and strategic voice far beyond its size. Leadership can be local in origin and global in consequence. Celebrating Black excellence is how we honor history and imagine what's possible. Thank you for joining me this year.
Don't let size fool you, because Barbados is becoming one of the most strongest and economically powerful countries in the entire region of the Caribbean. And one of the main reasons because of this is because Barbados has an amazing Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, who is making a real difference within the nation. Not only does she want Barbados to become a climate resilient country, she is also making trade deals with many countries in the continent of Africa. And she's trying to break away that gap with relying on former colonial powers. Another reason why Barbados is going to excel as a country is because they have a high literacy rate, which is between 96.6% to 99.9%, which is nearly 100%. And it just shows that the people in Barbados are highly educated, and that means that they can go very, very far in life. And it just gives a good effect on the entire island as a whole. And a lot of people think that the Caribbean is really undeveloped, but that is one of the lies which they have taught us. It's a very, very big lie, because people in the Caribbean are very educated, and the school systems in the Caribbean in a lot of ways are way better than the school systems in the UK. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you truly believe Barbados will become one of the most powerful and successful economies in the entire world, because I think it will.
This lady, Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, has proven herself to be the greatest Prime Minister of the Caribbean in modern history. This lady, Mia Mottley, has won her third consecutive general election with a clean sweep, 30-0. This lady must be doing something good. We have listened to her speak, and her speeches are heartwarming and very touching. She has proven herself to be one of the greatest women of the Caribbean in the last 50 years. All women of the Caribbean should honor and cherish this lady. Big up yourself, Mia.
What's up, beautiful and amazing people? Guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about the great Prime Minister of Barbados, that is Mia Mottley anyway. That's Mia Mottley is the nickname on TikTok. Nowadays I've decided that most leaders in place, or our leaders have decided to go online. They have embraced social media because they know that is the only space that you can sell your agenda. That is the only space whereby you can tell your people what you have done, what you're planning to do for free. I mean, free advertisement. And like in the old days where you had to only depend on newspapers and these news stations. Guys, I mean, she has a TikTok channel, by the way, where she posts videos of an update of what she's doing, and her latest speeches from when she was campaigning after winning the election. Her speeches are some of the best, because this particular lady, remember one of the achievements that she did immediately she came into power in the year 2018 as the first prime minister, is to ensure that Barbados becomes a democracy, or is it a republic, whereby the people from Barbados are called, I don't know, the people of Barbados can start voting for their leaders, unlike in the past whereby their governance depended on a monarchy under the British Empire, of course. So that was the greatest achievement that she has ever done in Barbados, and since then she has been so vocal in the world stages, in the CARICOM, fighting for the rights and also supporting the black people all over the world, not just Barbados. According to Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, she is saying that many developing countries are trapped in debt while also facing climate disasters. Very, very true. And these particular debts, remember that they are those that came in because of colonial powers. We were entangled into this debt relationship, and we are never going to come out of it very soon. They gave us freedom, but they did not give us, the real and true independence and freedom. And what most Africans are fighting for, the black people are fighting for, is true independence without ties. She also, wants global institutions like the IMF and the World Bank to change how they lend money. It's really unfair that, for instance, in Kenya, when you borrow money from the IMF, you borrow them in dollars. How now? How is it even going to benefit us? It should be that we should be borrowing from our own local currency. By doing that, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be easy for us to pay back. But if you actually borrow in dollars and pay in dollars, or is it the other way around, it's not going to be very, very unfair, because we are coming to use it, in Kenyan shillings. So she has actually advocated for these developing countries for so long. And she's like, in terms of climate change, she was saying that countries must be able to provide more climate financing rather than infrastructural financing, because climate change is everything in the world. It's everything. If there is a disaster now, then it's gonna hit us like so badly. But at the end of the day, we don't have the equipment, the capacity, the financial capability to deal with it. And according to these current losses and damages, and that is happening around the world, is really uncalled for. Because this climate change, it doesn't mean that it is just one country. Something that is done in Australia affects someone in Africa. Something that is done in Antarctica will also affect somebody that lives in North America. So climate change is something that is worldwide, and it should be the responsibility of everybody on this earth. So, according to Mia Mottley, the world leaders, or rather the world, needs around 1.3 trillion per year by at least last year going forward, in order for all these countries to finance a green transition, which is awesome. I don't know if she is given an opportunity in the UN platform. I know she's going to deliver this speech confidently, and the world is gonna listen to her. But I will say, unfortunately, the leadership of UN doesn't even have a black person in there. Even African Union, no black people in. I mean, those that make the decisions. So, my good people, if you listen to the CARICOM people, if I talk about CARICOM, it's the entire Caribbean islands. They really love this prime minister. They adore her, because since she came into power, so much has actually changed positively, I will say. If you look at education, if you look at health, if you look at infrastructure, the best of the best of the best. And we thank God that, she came in with a purpose. She came in with the heart of the people. She came in knowing that she wants to help and support her country. And that is what she actually believes in. She is also known for fighting poverty and inequality around the world. As long as there is black nations anywhere, yeah, that's what she's fighting for, because she believes that poverty should be reduced, and also an opportunity needs to be created so that everybody can actually be in a position to work, provide for the family, and they just live a better life. So I don't know what you think about her, because also about healthcare, oh man, infrastructure, living standards. She's that kind of a person that she wants that. I mean, if a country had the opportunity and capability to provide, to have if they had the financial muscle, I know it would have been a first world country, because she is a no-nonsense leader or prime minister. In fact, many CARICOM people, like, they really want her to be the entire prime minister or the president of the CARICOM. The way we say that Ibrahim Traore here is the president of Africa, yeah, there they say that she is the president of CARICOM. Anyway, guys, thank you. If you watched the clip up to this point, I appreciate your presence. I know you watched the entire clips where she was actually telling people that were elected under her party, which is Barbados Labour Party, that they should work together. They should, unite, because by uniting and working together, then Barbados is going to be a better place. She actually had a very beautiful speech, encouraging and telling them that you are here to work for the people, not to work for you. So ensure that everything that you do is for the benefit of the people of Barbados. And that is it, guys. I appreciate your presence. I'll see you in the next video.